Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a brand new 2025 Subaru Outback. And today, on this incredibly windy day, I'm gonna review it for you guys. Starting out up front on the Outback, it has a very sharp and angular design, especially up front here, but I think it still retains the Outback look. Here you'll get LED headlights with LED daytime running lights, though it does have incandescent turn signals. Moving further down the front end though, there is LED fog lights. And then in the center of the grille, you'll get your big Subaru badge and a front camera. Curiously, this does not have a 360-degree camera system. It only has a front and rear camera. That's not something I see very often on cars. It's an interesting little detail. Speaking of things I don't see very often and in the camera world, up at the top of the windshield, there isn't one, but 3 cameras. That is not something I have ever seen before on another vehicle, but Subaru's primary concern is safety technology, and that's abundantly clear here. I'll talk about that a little bit more when I move to the interior. Moving underneath the hood in this Outback, it's powered by Subaru's 2.4-liter turbocharged Boxer 4-cylinder that makes 260 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. During my time testing the Outback this week, I averaged 27.2. Moving to the profile of the Outback, starting with the gray plastic body cladding that you'll get here that continues along the profile and wraps around to the rear. Now that's become a very popular styling cue recently for a lot of manufacturers, and Subaru has been doing it for quite a long time. Though I think this particular section right here might be a little bit over-styled. It seems sharp just to be sharp. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. I think I prefer the previous generation of the Outback, or the previous design of the Outback, where it has a slightly more subdued look on the body cladding. Moving on to the wheels and tires, you're gonna get 225 60R Yokohamas, and you'll have 18-inch wheels. And then continuing up here, there are silver mirror caps. You'll have turn signal indicators implemented in. Then they're heated and power adjusting. They're also power folding, so if you have the key in your pocket, you can just tap the keyless entry. That will lock the vehicle. And if you put your hand back here, that will unlock the vehicle and fold the mirrors out. This particular Touring XT comes with roof racks, which is another neat addition. And then moving around to the rear here, you can see where I've placed my hand because it's quite dusty at the moment. Since it's so windy, it's kicking dust up everywhere. You'll have parking sensors here on the back, your Subaru badge, another Subaru badge, your symmetrical all-wheel drive badge, Outback and Touring XT. And then opening this up, you'll see there is a camera right there, your backup camera. Then there's buttons up here to lower the liftgate and lock the vehicle. And then moving inside, there's actually a decent amount of room back here. You really do get a good storage cargo capacity. And if you want even more, you can just pull these little levers and that will fold the second row seats down. Now, as you can see, there is a little privacy cover that is included on this one. You can, whoops, this is hard to do with one hand. There we go. This privacy cover is included and that clicks in there. And you can also click it up to there if you'd like. So a couple of different options, but you can also just pop this out of place if, well, this is again hard to do with one hand. You can pop it out of place if you'd like and remove that. You don't have to keep that there. So that's nice if you want a little bit more storage. And then lifting the Outback plastic cover up, there is a fix-a-flat kit back here with a tire jack. And then there is a 12-volt and a subwoofer for the Harman and Kardon sound system, and quite a few little tie downs and little things that can pop out. Before we move to the interior, I just wanted to highlight the key fob quickly. In addition to lock, your Subaru logo is actually unlock. And then you'll also have this button right here to open up your rear lift gate. And it also closes the liftgate. If you hold the button, it will bring it down as well.
Alpha Shark will be right back after a word from our sponsor. Have you ever found yourself stranded because your car battery died?
Yes, literally right now. I even have jumper cables, but there's no other cars around. Wait, do you have a car?
No. But it sounds like you need the Monster Start X1 from Jesper.
What? Oh my word, I think I'm losing my mind.
You're not losing your mind, Isaac. You're actually gaining a lot of features. The X1 has a 6,000 amp peak current, which means it works great to jumpstart all gas and diesel engines. It also has a 58,800 milliamp battery booster power pack with 145 watt fast charging. It's lightweight, only weighing 9.8 pounds, and you also get some other useful features, like this LED light with SOS modes for emergencies, USB ports for charging devices, and a DC fast charger option. To actually jumpstart the car, all you need to do is plug the jumpers into the positive and negative terminals, and then once it lights up, you'll see this is sensed. It's a 12-volt battery, and then it's as simple as turning the car on to jump it.
Hey, it worked. And that was quick. It only took a minute. Thanks, ethereal voiceover guy.
No problem. There'll be a link in the video description below to the X1's Amazon page. And there'll be a link to Jesper's website, where they sell a variety of jump starters and other car accessories. And now, back to the video.
Moving to the interior of the Outback, the easiest descriptive term I could use is it feels cozy in here. It's just really plush, very comfortable, and everything is laid out very well. It's not the fastest car, but it does make for a very comfortable, nice drive. And you get a lot of fun bells and whistles while you're in here too. Starting here on the door panel, this is soft touch up here, as is this. Then you get this nice stitching that continues through. Your window controls, lock and unlock, a button to power fold the mirrors from in here if you'd like. You'll have your memory settings right here because the seats are power adjusting with power lumbar support. Down here you'll get your liftgate controls. Then this is a manually tilting and telescoping steering wheel. Your trip reset buttons here. And it is a very comfortable steering wheel at that. It's leatherette with stitching in it, which is very nice. You'll have your volume controls, Bluetooth, channel changing, source, and then some of the radar guided cruise control settings over here. Curiously, there is a heated steering wheel, but the button is down here. It's a very unique placement, but it does still get very warm once that's activated for a long time. Going into your gauge cluster, you do have two traditional gauges on either side of a small little screen in there. It does not have a ton of customization. You can see I'm controlling it with the steering wheel, but there are a few things you can cycle through. The majority of the settings that you can change are located in this touchscreen. From your climate controls to your safety system settings, almost everything is incorporated into this, for better or worse. We'll get to that in a second. First off, you have push button start, which is located down here. Your hazards are a physical button up here, and you do get physical volume dials and channel changing, which is nice. And there is some physical climate control buttons right here. You can change the temp for the passenger and driver side, and you can do full front or full rear like defrost, which is convenient to have. Now, there's a lot to get to here with this screen, so I'm going to try to tackle everything. For one, the majority of the climate controls are located down here. If you do want to adjust them, you can drag this. I found it to be a little bit distracting when you're on the road trying to find the exact temperature, so I'm glad they've still included these physical buttons. And then you do have the fan speed down here, and you get ventilated and heated seats on this particular Outback. Who would have thought? Subaru Outback with heated and cooled seats and a heated steering wheel. it's neat that these features are included. Always fun to see that. Whoop, let me turn this off. I went one button too far. Then above that, you'll have your button for your home menu, which we're on right now. There's a few settings you can cycle through. You have apps. There is built-in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, depending on the phone that you have. That is wireless, which is nice that they've included that. I recently reviewed a BRZ, which only had wired CarPlay, so I'm glad that it's included wirelessly here. You'll have your automatic vehicle hold right here and your auto engine start stop button, toggles if you want to turn those off. Those features basically turn off the engine and automatically hold the brakes if you come to a stoplight. Those are nice for some people, but other people are not fans of those features, so I like that they've included the toggles for them pretty front and center. You don't have to dig for them if you don't want to use those features. Then tapping the car gives you a ton of different settings to turn on and off if you'd like in more detail. For example, you'll have X mode right here. That'll show up on the little gauge cluster screen. That gives you hill descent control. It's a little bit more off-road focused. If you do want to take this on non-traditionally paved roads, you can do that. So that's cool that that's included. When we click driver assistance, I told you I'd mention some of the driver assistance settings that this has. It has pre-collision braking, lane departure warning. It does give you blind spot monitoring as well. This little light will light up if somebody's in your blind spot. You will have driver monitoring. So if I am driving and I take my eyes off the road, it will actually sense that. I believe the sensor is right here. You can see that lighting up. And it will tell me to keep my eyes on the road. So that is very helpful. A lot of systems have that for early self-driving features, but this doesn't have self-driving. It still has that monitoring system incorporated in, which is always nice to see. And then additionally here in more settings, you can just change your units, your warning volume, stuff like that. Then going into radio, you can cycle through AM, FM, Sirius. This is a great example of my biggest issue with this radio. If you saw, it took a little bit to load into this app. It can at times have a little bit of a delay. There's a little bit of lag. See, I clicked that and now it finally pops in. There are a lot of features incorporated into this screen, and I feel like it could use a little bit of an update or a patch where it's just slightly quicker and there isn't so much lag, especially since there's so many things built into this that require maybe a little bit of whipping around when you're touching the screen. Now, it doesn't always lag, but sometimes it spikes in lag pretty heavily, so it's hit or miss. You don't really know when you're going to get a lag spike clicking between things where you'll have to double click something. For the most part, it does work well, but occasionally that is a little bit of a frustration and annoyance. You can see up here, there are a couple of different things that you can put at the top of the screen if you want your weather up there, or X mode available. You can kind of split the screen off and have that portion of the screen do something a little bit separate. So technically there's like 3 different layers. You have that top mode, the center here, and then down here as well. Overall, not the worst screen experience. If I put my foot on the brake and I throw it into, whoop, I went too far. Throw it into reverse here, there is a backup camera with guiding lines. It's a decent backup camera, definitely not the best in the industry, but it's also not the worst I've seen either. It works just fine. And then if I put this back into park and I tap this camera view button, I can see the front camera view. This camera is notably less high quality than the rear camera, but it does work okay, and it's nice that it's included here. As I mentioned earlier, a curiosity that this has the front camera, but not the mirror cameras to make it a full 360 degree. It's very rare that I see that, so interesting inclusion. Moving to the rear seats, there is ample leg and headroom back here. I probably have about 5 inches of leg room and probably 2 or 3 inches of headroom at 5'9". But in addition to the room I already have, there is an additional lever back here that I can pull and lean against, and that will actually give me a little bit of a recline back here, which is super nice, very convenient, and then that gives me even more headroom as I lean into that recline, you can see right here about how much of a recline that you get. So that's very cool. Here in the center, you have a fold-down armrest for that middle seat with 2 cup holders, and you also do have the ability to fold the second row seats down from back here. There's a button right there you can just tap and they will fold down. Additionally, you do get climate vents back here, USB 2.0 and 3.0, and heated seats in the second row. This is super duper comfortable back here. It is so nice and definitely a place I'd recommend spending a long road trip. You wouldn't be upset. One funny thing I did notice back here is that the window down button thing here, the whole piece, is the exact same as the fronts right there, where it has all the different buttons in it. So it looks like they reused it, but they only had the one window button to put here. So they just elongated that swoop to make it less obvious that this massive plastic piece was the same one that they used up front. All right, driving the Subaru Outback. It is a very comfortable, just premium feeling ride. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect with the Outback because I haven't reviewed many Subarus. I've had the opportunity to do a couple cross treks, which are very popular nowadays, and the Subaru BRZ recently, which is more of a performance sports car than anything. So, I was like, man, what's this Outback gonna be? I've kind of known Outbacks throughout the years to just be really reliable station wagons. That's like what I've kind of associated them with in my mind, but I haven't really had the opportunity to drive around in too many of them over the years. And so I was excited. I was like, what is this gonna be? And honestly, it's really good. It's a very, very fun car to drive. And I've reviewed a ton of cars on this channel. And a lot of the time people say, Isaac, what's your dream car? Like, what is a car that you have reviewed that you wish that you owned? And frankly, I love my Tacoma. I think it's a great truck and it's been very reliable to me. So much so that when I crashed my first one, I got a second one. I had the opportunity to get quite a few different cars, and I looked at quite a few different classes of vehicle and stuff, but I ended up getting that truck. And so with this is honestly the first time that I've driven a vehicle that I don't necessarily want it now, that I'm like, man, I am craving a Subaru Outback. But if I ever have the opportunity to be blessed with being a father someday, I could totally see myself rocking one of these as a dad down the road. Like, this is a great dad vehicle. It just seems like it would be really fun. I can picture taking my kids to soccer practice in a vehicle like this and enjoying it because it's so comfortable. It gets pretty good fuel economy. It's a sweet package overall, and I'd highly recommend this car. Though something that confounds me is the fact that Subaru is so concerned with safety, yet they've implemented so many things in different menus on this touchscreen. So I have to go digging sometimes if I want to turn on a specific feature. And even if I want to turn on the ventilated seats, for example, I have to take my eyes off the road just for a second to click that button, because I don't, know exactly where it is, because it's not a physical button with tactile feedback. See, if I had this as a physical button with tactile feedback, I could run my hands over it and go, okay, yep, that's the heated seat button, that's the cooled seat button. But because it's all built into the screen, I have to take my eyes off the road for just a second. So it's funny that the car monitors my eyes to say, hey, get your eyes on the road, when it's been designed that you sort of have to take your eyes off the road for a second or two to adjust some of the climate control settings sometimes. Now, I don't know if that's something that I would get used to if I owned this car, that I would sort of begin to know, okay, this button is at this point in the screen so I can kind of hit that. Okay, I'm hitting it, it's bumping, but as is, for this week that I've had the car, I have found that to be slightly annoying. And I would love if this vehicle had a smaller screen and physical buttons. That would be great. That would be fine, just like all the previous generations of the Outback. But that's how vehicle manufacturers are making cars right now. They are implementing almost everything into the screen, and hopefully that means that because everyone is going that way, they will be able to figure out how to more cleverly implement them in a safer way that you don't have to take your eyes off the road to use them. I specifically think of the climate controls when I am talking about this. Either way though, I would still recommend this car. I think it's an excellent choice, and climate controls incorporated into the screen or not, it is a safer car than a lot of other vehicles. Well, that's just about going to wrap up my review of the Subaru Outback. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Before I go though, I'd like to mention that I'm a Christian, and if you have any prayer requests, I would love to be able to pray for you guys. You can leave those in the comment section below. It truly is one of the greatest privileges of being able to do this. And lastly, I'd like to close out on a scriptural reading. This week, I'm in the book of Psalms, chapter 108, verse 1. King David is writing here, and he says, "My heart is steadfast, O God. I will sing and make melody with all my being." All right, guys, I'll see you next time. And remember, no matter what vehicle you drive, I hope it lasts you a long time and it serves you well. Take care.